Sam, I'm sure a lot of our viewers have also seen this video. Anna Kasparian was joined by another host this time. They just keep on rotating. I believe his name is Lance from the Surf. So he was joined for a video that they did about Glenn Greenwald and Tulsi Gabbard announcing that they'll be moving to the video sharing platform Rumble. But go ahead. You already have a comment before I get into my main points.
It's just, yes, somebody long time ago made this Twitter joke that I can't prove this, but it does seem like TYT is running a human trafficking ring out of their offices. And it's just the number of people that come and go at
Yeah.
revolving door is like every time I turn it on, it's just new people that no, he was great. We'll get into it, but yeah, he wasn't even. I liked his take, so yeah. Anyway,
100%, 100%.
just I'm worried about him that his organs may be harvested. Anyways, I don't wanna
Yeah.
insinuate anything. Yeah.
No, it kind of reminded me of the person who now has his own show on TYT, and he was joined on that other pathetic video that they did about the Syrian democracy, about Syria's election. And it's like that guy hadn't got the memo either that this is like a
Oh yeah,
video to
yeah,
hate on, Glenn
yeah.
Greenwald or Aaron
We
Mack.
should
But we'll get
not.
into that.
No, don't be positive on them. Yeah, but
But
yeah. So I think it's good to give a context that yeah, Glenn Greenwald, Tulsi Gabbard, among other major figures, they decided to join Rumble, which is a Canadian-based platform that claims to be pro free speech and is trying to market itself as an alternative to YouTube that does not censor creators. Uh, yeah, and then yeah, Anna Kasparian, like you can have different takes on that because they did sign a contract with Rumble. Apparently, they are getting money and all that, so there can be analysis of that. But this was just the yeah. I think you can explain what it is.
yeah, I mean, she rambles on. Every time I try to make a video about her, I tried, I'm like, especially videos like this, I have a hard time of like, finding out what is like her overall message so I can like, critique it and criticize it properly. So I tried my best to mention the most substantial part. I mean, the part that bothered me the most is really that she completely I got that within the first minute, she completely undermined completely like the censorship that can happen on social media platforms as if it never happens. It's always the most accurate thing. So that was like my first one. I mean, she just completely undermines it and makes a mockery of online censorship by social media platforms. That is perhaps the most substantial thing I can say about her video. Go ahead.
To be fair to her, she like, I mean, she was, I don't, it's, I think she was doing it, to be honest, in a disingenuous manner, but I think she was picking out Tulsi Gabbard and Glenn Greenwald and saying these two people specifically have not experienced censorship. And Glenn Greenwald, I think in a response video or in another video anyway, he says they never claim they are being censored because they are relatively like big enough to be hard to censor really, but a lot of other smaller creators are being censored and they are trying to support them. So she does her, like, she lies by omission in a
Yeah.
way. Like she makes her argument through omission and through focusing on a very narrow thing. But besides that, she does come across as very pro monopoly, like, oh,
Oh,
this right wing platform. Again, I haven't analyzed Rumble's content. I don't know the owners. Apparently, there have Peter Thiel, JD Vance, right wing. There have been right wing investors. I don't know if they were silent. I don't know, not. But it's not like anything that she delves into either. She's just like does the whole smearing, like this is a right wing thing, and she quotes this. I mean, she's not as bad. Washington Post and New York Times are far worse than, I think, Washington Post, if I'm not mistaken, does an article where Glenn takes apart, where their expert is somebody who's funded by government and Google, who owns YouTube. So it's just this, like, could have been a substantial video perhaps, or something, but this is just clearly a narrow smear attack. And just the personal sort of getting back at people. Like she thought, I think in her mind, she thinks she found a got you moment that,
Yeah.
oh, you guys say we got money from Katzenberg, we're flawed. You guys say you're censored, but while completely ignoring the actual issue, which is general censorship, self-censorship, which is going on right now a lot. It's sort of harkening back to 1980s. People are sort of afraid to talk, you know.
Yeah, no, spot on. I mean, I can just one example I know for sure is the Analysis News. They had some of their videos taken down about January 6th. And I mean, you go watch the Analysis News. I mean, anyone can accidentally spread misinformation, but they pretty much bring high-level academics and have very in-depth conversations. But and then you mentioned, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, the Hill had a debate on this issue of freedom of speech. It had more to do with Taliban and their presence on Twitter. But yeah, there was this lady who made the point that I don't know, but there should be authorities about misinformation. I mean, look, anybody who does like basic social sciences, like it's just like somebody's freedom fighter is another person's terrorist. Someone's misinformation is another person's. People trust different sources, and you can't. What you gonna do then? Like
and in the sciences,
yeah,
I feel like she doesn't understand the sciences in a way, especially the social sciences. Sometimes there is a relative consensus, like the literature will lean towards a certain side. There's more evidence, more studies, but it's extremely their debates. It's fluid. And I mean, just look at some of the stuff we experienced over the past year about mask this or mask now. Things change. I mean, and then I was going to make a comment about alternative media, which you mentioned before, but go ahead. I'll come back to that.
No, I just want to add that even not social sciences, real sciences. I mean, anybody read Thomas Kuhn's? I mean, he walks back some of his things, or philosopher Feyerabender, if I'm not mispronouncing his name. I mean, this myth of like real science and real objective facts. I'm not, by the way, just undermining reality. I'm not one of those, man, we live in a dream of a turtle or something. But but it's just science is guesswork. It's like detective guesswork. It's not like you don't have facts. You're half blind in a room just doing this. That's what science is.
I mean,
but sorry, no, just I just wanted to suggest people reading Thomas Kuhn, and like I think he's one of the writers. His writing had a lot of influence on me. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say even the natural sciences, sometimes I guess like in chemistry or physics or something, they put two or three things together and it always creates the same end conclusion. But after a while, they can realize, oh, there was like a fourth thing that we didn't know about. So we did all reach the same results all the time, but the explanation was actually something completely different, which we didn't know. But I mean, in the social sciences, they try to say like, oh, if you're a democracy, you will have this or that, and you can prove it in two cases, maybe in like a particular context, and that's good. That's as good as you can, but it can't apply to everything. So yeah. And then
I mean, I would still push back on your sort of natural sciences point, because I would say even that's not like Newtonian laws were basically completely not made redundant. They're still used on for a lot of things, but like Einstein's theory basically completely undermined all that. Or for a long time in natural sciences, ether was considered like material, but then we came up with the idea of vacuum. So again, it's just
no, that's what I meant. No, that's kind of what I meant. Although they can be a very strong consensus and everybody reaches the same results, there was actually another thing that nobody knew about that was still making everybody reach the same result. Then that was kind of my third point. I'm going to move it to second now, which was the way she talks about these alternative social media platforms is also, again, very demeaning, and as if they're all like these blah, 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 like whatever. There's so people going alternative platforms. It kind of reminded me of back then, you would see it more like on CNN or mainstream media. They would talk about YouTube as if it's all bullshit and stuff. I just got the exact same feeling from the way that she was talking about alternative social media platforms. Just completely like undermining them. So I don't know if
I
you
mean,
have, yeah,
again, this is not a new thing though. From what I recalled, when Parler got banned by major tech companies, the Young Turks, as far as I remember, they didn't have a major problem with that. But yeah, I sadly I think these people are so so what do you say? They're so
but
disturbed by their own personal dramas that they
yeah.
just yeah. I don't even think she's like has it like she's not being paid by a tech giant or like she's being manipulating or evil. It's just she wants to get back at some people. So yeah.
No, I wouldn't want to be Anna these days. I feel like she's not having, like at home, all these things must be eating her up, like all these like conflict, and she's always on the losing side. I just feel like definitely not having a good time. And TYT, it's funny, they're actually on a bunch of platforms all the time. So I can see them later on eating their words. Like Jenk might have been like, we might have to join Rumble in 6 months. I wish you hadn't said that, Anna. Because I went on Rumbles. There's Reuters now and there. So, there's a chance that we're,
Yeah, like a lot of people who come on their Shuzait Jelani in Esquire, like again, I'm not saying I haven't done a content analysis or
yeah,
read about them, but just to be so like clearly, yeah,
yeah.
personal about everything, just
Yeah.
just try to give a unbiased take as an anchor. Maybe after a while people just forget about was who gives a shit about drama anyway. So
Yeah, yeah. No, people can move on. Here,
he
let me see
keeps
if you can.
bringing it back.
I know. But here,
It's
let me
like
know if you can push back a little bit on this. I have yet to, she keeps on saying Glenn has completely changed. He's done a 180. He's no longer the same person. In this video, she doesn't mention one issue. And I'm sure Glenn has changed his mind. We all change our minds on different things. But have you heard her or TYT actually point out specific issues? And it can't be that left and right have some common grounds now, because as we discussed in last week's episode of Progressive World, Jeng put out a tweet saying the same thing, that now that the left and the right have more common ground that they believe when it comes to economic issues, so they should work together. But in this one, she doesn't even bring one example of what she, sorry about that, folks. There might be a few internet issues in this video. I'm really sorry. We're going to cut them as smoothly as possible. But yeah, I was just telling Sam, can you think of an example? And it can't be the one that, that left and right have more common grounds now, because on economic issues, because Cenk himself also just put out a tweet like last week saying that, pretty much giving Glenn Greenwald's argument that based on economic issues, the left and right have more similarities and they should work together. But yeah, have you heard about one issue that Anna said, A, Glenn did a complete 180 on this, and B, this is why his new opinion is bad? I'm sure there are some. I haven't heard one, but I'm sure
uh,
there are some.
I have it. I don't know specifically what she was referring to or anything like that. I know Glenn kind of. I've had that view actually. I believe I may be wrong here. I may be mixing him up with Matt Taibbi or somebody, but I think he's, for example, for a long time he's been he's he's not for campaign finance reform. So he's
Mm-hmm.
had some controversial views for the left, like controversial for the left, and he's never fit in that box perfectly well. I think what if we are being them charitable, she
Mm-hmm.
may be referring to his interviews with Megyn Kelly or Glenn Beck. Uh, I haven't seen it, but apparently he did a relatively softball interview with Glenn Beck. So I don't know, but again, yeah, it's just people should be judged, I think, based on their actions, and this sort of reading into tea leaves to find out what are people's intentions and their mental, what is their psychotic state of their mind and all that. I think this is all again bullshit. So yeah, I hope they, if there is such a 180 thing, if Glenn has done things like that and all of us are ignorant about it, I hope they shine light to it, not just That's again, it just reminds me of the whole, he's paid by the Russians.
Yeah.
What Cenk said, and know everything. It's anything online. You don't. I mean, yeah, referencing is very underrated, I think.
Yeah, I know. I know. So okay, so I have a few more points that we'll get into, including the co-host. Maybe have a few decent things to mention
Yeah,
about him. But
I
before
had
that,
a,
I
I
mean,
think,
just
yeah,
because I know I'm gonna name this video pathetic, so I wanted to bring it up. That is
yeah,
pathetic and
it's
salty.
SEO helps, but
And I love how she mentions herself that she's salty towards Tulsi Gabbard because she refused to do an interview with her. So Anna, towards the end of the video, she's like, yeah,
does
and
she
I might
say
be a bit
she's
salty.
salty to
Yeah, she
herself?
uses the word salty. I'm
Oh.
99% sure. Hopefully I'll have a clip of it right here.
And yes, do I seem a little salty? I do, because Glenn Greenwald in particular is someone who I had a tremendous amount of admiration for. Glenn Greenwald was the journalist that I held up on a pedestal in every single one of my journalism classes, someone who I felt was a model for real journalism. And now he has devolved into, I don't know what he is. I mean, a Twitter bully schoolgirl who's constantly whining and crying about Taylor Lorenz and Emma Vigeland. Like, what is wrong with you? So, I mean, that's why I'm salty about it.
If not my bad, 99% sure, because she refused to do an interview with her. And
Well,
just overall, every time,
she,
sorry, just one last thing. Every time her and Cenk make these videos, I feel like they're like lecturing me and trying to, make me feel bad and guilt trip me into their position. I get that from both of them whenever they make these videos.
yeah, it's really funny. I don't know who they think they are. Like, they think they're like internet's dad and like cool auntie or something,
Yeah.
like cool uncle and cool auntie of internet. That
very well put.
If you feel like you agree with the people who mock women, go ahead. Like this, like shaming us, like you are nobody to us. Like, we don't, you were the ones who were showing personal pictures of people, of their personal parts, illegal, something that I still cannot believe was not illegal at the time. And you are fun. It's like Bill Cosby and pulling your pants up crowd, with him. Like, you pull up your pants, you rapist son of a bitch. Anyway, but it's just, it's so annoying. But I just wanted to make a point that the person she brought on again wasn't in the game, that you're supposed to be just trashing these people. And I think he made a really genuinely substantive point that sadly the left seems to be very timid in adopting new technologies compared to like right-wing people. I don't know, maybe because leftists just generally wants to move as a community or something. But yeah, like that. So it's not that Rumble, I don't know, but I assume Rumble is not necessarily right-wing. But if there is more right-wing content there, or more what is described as conspiracy-minded content there, it's probably because those people flood, while academically minded leftists tend to want to stay in their academic circles.
Yeah, and some of them, sure. I mean, their accounts must have been taken down. So they kind of had no choice to go, but
sure,
they weren't able to make videos on YouTube. But yeah, I wanted to add to what he said. So if this platform, right, is filled with more right-wing people, shouldn't someone from the left, like Anna, actually encourage and want like leftists and maybe someone like even TYT, they see themselves as progressives, to go on that platform and in fact to counter that, to put out your narrative, to put out your side of the story.
No, man. You shouldn't debate and have a lively discussion, a polite discussion with people you disagree. You should be all zen about it and just stick to your friends and stay in your own circle and just agree. And you agree with me, I agree with you. Yeah. It's great. It's great. Sure. I mean, I mean, I like, that's how you should live your life. You should not try to change your mind at all. You should be completely close to all kinds of new information, like, especially after you reach certain level of income. That's
But sticking kind of to the co-host, he also, I love in the beginning, his first comment, he makes a joke that if Rumble approach him, and pay him that he'll go
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
he tries to keep the door open. You can't go back and be like, hey, you
No,
joined
I
Rumble,
mean that
because
was
he
a
keeps the
joke.
door
Yeah.
open. But he
I
doesn't go
would say
crazy on it. He actually says that he spoke to developers, like the point that you just made, that work on these websites and all this. So
no, and I like to clarify if establishment media or the Young Turks, if they want to give me $1 million, I'll probably, yeah, I'll go there and say, no, Jimmy Dore is wrong or everything. And you are the best professor, journalism. Tell me about it, please.
hold on, we're gonna
What
get
is
to Professor Anna.
no, yeah, it's just like it's obviously $1 million. Like, but then again, everybody would know why I'm saying that. So just I hope they give me the money, but I doubt they do it because it's like my game is just up
Yeah.
now. But anyways, just I hope they my $1 million, no, actually five. $1 million, what can you do? Buy a house? Barely. Five.
Yeah.
I'll sell my soul for five. Sorry.
Maybe Middle America you can get something for for even $500,000. Middle America, yeah, there you could get something good.
In
But
Texas, you can buy half the state probably. You buy Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan has bought half. You buy the other half.
and both enjoy freedom.
Anyways.
But yeah, so before we get to Professor Anna, I kind of think maybe listen to this. Do I have a gotcha when it comes to TYT? You want to say something?
No, I'll add it at the end.
Okay. Based on if they're talking about misinformation, based on what I've heard and understood, Facebook was filled with misinformation when it came to the 2016 election and other times, and they are still on it. And Instagram, I mean, Instagram barely like implements copyright. So I know that they try to maybe counter some misinformation. Instagram, anything and everything goes pretty much.
I would like to point I would like to point out CNN, Washington Post, New York Times, all probably the biggest like hubs of misinformation on earth. They're all on YouTube. All government like officials, including Iranian, American, whatever you want to call them, the origin sort of misinformation. Usually, politicians, they're all on Twitter and YouTube. So it's just such an idiotic.
Yeah. Okay. So before moving on to Professor Anna, I just want to say maybe one thing about the co-host. So the co-host does bring up one or two issues of Glenn that he mentions. And he's like, I really enjoyed Glenn's earlier work. And the example that he gives is Glenn's latest work, which is Brazil and Lula. Like Glenn literally published a book like earlier this year. So he didn't pick the best example. That's the only thing I would say the co-host kind of dropped the ball a little bit there. But then, yeah, and then Anna also, of course, has a whole bit about how they've had one round of investing, but they never told her what to do. And nobody tells her what to do at TYT. Well, you are TYT. She's like, not even Jen.
Yeah, everybody's scared of Anna.
Yeah, you guys are TYT.
She thinks we're implying that she's like she's the victim
like the
here.
intern,
No, you're the dictator.
Oh, you seriously? No, exactly. And as if, and you seriously think like Rumble is gonna come tell Glenn what to do? No, they want unhinged Glenn. Like, why would you even tell Glenn what to do? You want not even unhinged. I don't know why you said that. You want the current Glenn. You want Glenn Greenwald and Tulsi Gabbard to go do their thing and bring on viewers.
I'm sure if they get big enough and powerful enough, and if they don't need Glenn, they would do it, just like Intercept pretty much did. It's not Glenn. I don't think Glenn is thinking that Rumble people are these amazing people that are. It's just that right now there are few alternatives to YouTube. You have to align yourself with them if you want to keep this freedom of speech space as open as you can. And in the long term, you probably fail. They're gonna monopolize everything at the end. But you gotta play you gotta fight at least. I mean, it's just, I don't know. Again, it's just everything for these people is so personal and about identity and this one and that.
I mean, might make it a bit.
I'm becoming
personal,
an old lady.
That might make it a bit personal with the Professor Anna part now. So I'm just talking to my notes.
No, I don't think that's personal.
Yeah.
I think that's substantial. I think who teaches people, it's kind of like when I found out Stephen Colbert teaches Sunday school, I lost pretty much all respect for him. I think the people who teach our children or young whatever, that's an important issue. It's not
Yeah.
it's
No,
not a
you're right.
personal issue.
I didn't know that, but so I recently found out, like only a few months ago, that Anna's a professor, and I finally decided to go and look into her credentials. Well, I mean, I looked on Wikipedia and a few university pages, but before getting into that, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say that she's a Professor Anna in the same way. There's this joke in the like online community about movies. Suicide Squad, not the Suicide Squad, not the new one, the old one,
Mhm.
won Oscars for makeup, and it's one of the worst movies ever made. So everybody jokes that, yeah, you know, the Oscar awarded movie Suicide Squad, and it's like a joke. And it's kind of, I think Anna is in the same way. Like that's how I would categorize it. Like, you know, Professor Anna Kasparian. It kind of undermines the whole concept of professorship. Or another, I think Steve Munchen. I never can pronounce his name. The treasury of Donald Trump. He was also, I think, one of the producers of Suicide Squad. So he's like another, like it's commonly joked that he's like he's an award-winning producer. And it's just, yeah, it's just these things really like undermines your whole worldview. You know,
Yeah,
it's
no,
kind of like taking acid.
I mean, I'm like, honestly, I think her being a professor, especially when she became, makes a true mockery of academia. Because listen to this, right? She got her bachelor in journalism, okay? So as a young lady, let's say 22 or so, 21, she already had her bachelor. Then, and if anybody knows information that counters this, please bring it up. Then she worked on as a producer a little bit on CBS, but then she left quickly and got her master's in political science before joining TYT in 2007. And I believe she was born in 85. So she joined TYT in 2007. That makes her like 22. That makes her 22. Then in 23, so after that, she didn't get a PhD. She didn't work. And I'm not saying that journalists are better than political commentators or anchors. We might get into discussion about this, but I distinguish it. And she's she's not a media or communication professor. She's primarily a journalism professor. By 2013, which if my calculations are right based on her age in Wikipedia, at the age of 27, maybe 28, without a PhD, not having a career in journalism, she became a professor in journalism. I mean, absolute bullshit. I don't know how. She neither had her PhD nor was like, you know, had 30 years of experience in journalism and then was quickly completing her PhD, and they still gave her a job because, you know, you're so experienced, you have been in the field or like done the work so much. So, I mean, I don't know based on what they made her a professor.
Do you know she became immediately a professor, or she was assistant sort of professor and throughout, like until she became 3 years later, she became full professor?
Good question. And I was thinking of that. And based on what I found, no, from what I understand, she pretty much, of course, she didn't get like, you know, what's the word? Like, you know, when you're a professor for life, she didn't get tenure or anything. But, you know, she was given a full out class as the main teacher based on what I understand already in 2013. So she was given a university class, multiple classes.
I don't know what courses she specifically taught. I would assume she has probably quite significant experience and knowledge in production, in a studio production and all that. And journalism, in my view, to an extent includes that. Journalism, in my view, is the umbrella term for all of these activities. But if she was teaching field reporting, or if she was teaching epistemology of like unbiasedness, or you know, that type of thing, no, I doubt she would have been or history of journalism even, or something like that. But I think, yeah, studio production, that type of thing, I think counts as journalism too.
Fair enough. I would actually distinguish between that, but fair enough. I also give her that. I think like at least if she was like a media and broadcasting, and apparently she had some media and broadcasting classes. But we're going to go and rate my professors now. You'll see some of them, most of them say journalism, and they say that she's a professor of journalism. And for me, journalism does a different work than political commentary. Journalism typically, you break stories by doing original reporting, whereas political commentator, co-hosts like us on shows like Anna Kasparian, we give our opinion on the news and we report on news that was already reported. So it's different than journalism. Just to finish off with this, like Glenn Greenwald, he does both. I'll throw it back to you in half a second. Glenn Greenwald is both. He was a journalist. He is a journalist when he broke like the Snowden story and other stories. And then on his channel sometimes where he talks about free speech issues or other things, there he's more of a political commentator. And I think you need different skills and you teach different things. And in university, media studies, communication, journalism are different degrees. Go ahead.
I think the differences are largely, in my view, the differences you're drawing are arbitrary because you need all these sets of skills to report. But I think what you're saying is basically you only consider original reporting journalism. And that's
more or less,
fair enough.
More or less. I was looking at the definition. Apparently,
okay.
You can be an opinion journalist, which is like
different. I mean, look,
but,
when a word is that long, like what is philosophy? What is a philosopher? Analytical flow. Like, I don't understand why people spend their time like it's you, like in the context that you're talking, tell us what you mean by journalism, and then whatever maybe you mean a gorilla by journalism. I don't care. This is semantics. Let's just agree on some definitions and then go. But I understand you're saying that in your view, and I agree with I think original reporting is more valuable than other forms of activity that is generally referred to as journalism. But in your view, real journalism is original reporting. Is that correct?
Pretty much. And I'm actually not saying that it's more valuable or not. I'm just saying they're different jobs. Yeah, I know you're saying that. No, but yeah, fair enough. But that's that. I mean, we can maybe quickly just look at a rate my professors thing. And then I don't know if others have been on it. So
I've never heard of this.
Really? No, people go on it and they pretty much, I remember hearing about it, my bachelor. So that's the thing. I tried to compare and see how her ratings are comparing to others. So it kind of suggested some others. And then apparently, so hers is 3.6 out of 5, which I don't think is that good, but she has 27 ratings, which is quite a bit. But then I kind of went to see what people were saying about it. And all of them are pre-2018, 2019. So it's not like a bunch of Jimmy Dore fans, like, jumped there and started like saying bad stuff. Maybe they went and downvoted it. But one good thing I learned about her is actually, so some of the best comments that you see, even though it downvoted, the first one is there, is that she took time outside of class to help improve my writing. And then I went and read a few of her op-ed kind of article styles that she puts out. And she does have a nice casual style of writing that in news media I know is very valued in like writing for like writing for a established publication. So I will give her that. Many people, like the next one, they're like her focus was more on ideology than journalism. So people, yeah, she doesn't get the best, and even the good ones, they're kind of, some of them are downvoted more. So again, the one that helps me writing, downvoted. So just go through them, see if any of them kind of catch your eye. But the best thing that I saw is that she helped with writing for people. But yeah, her ratings don't.
You have at least three comments about the fact that she helped them with their writing.
Yeah. I love this guy. He got 16 upvotes and 1 downvote. He's like very unbearable at times. I try not to remember this class. Again, the writing one.
So that's interesting that somebody says at least 3 people in my class were taking her just to be associated with a B-list celebrity.
Yeah, no, seriously. Oh my God. And maybe there are some Jimmy Dore fans and others who went on it, because one person wrote, "Great professor, learned a lot from her," got 15 upvotes but 27 downvotes. Doesn't have a lot of interesting things to teach you. What else? Well, some people say if more people actually approach journalism the way Professor Kasparian does, the world would be a better place. I would strongly disagree with that, because I think this person agrees with her ideologically, and that's what they're kind of referring. And again, the downvotes are more terrible teacher. But yeah, folks, let me know. I'm more curious in people who maybe go on this website a lot, and if they think hers are particularly bad, or that's kind of the kind of, you know, comments that people give on these websites. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Some of them had some, wow, one person wrote good and they got 97 downvotes. Jesus Christ. And yeah, she does teach broadcasting. So here we go. One class apparently is broadcasting, and someone wrote that this class was not easy. We had to put together 4 news packages for television broadcast. So there she had experience. Although I would say she was only still 27 or 28 when she started. Wow, this comment was left in 2013. So that was in the very beginning. So yeah, still very early, I find, to make someone a professor, but sure, she did have some experience. She seemed to have moved up very quickly in her career. Kudos to her. And again, the downvotes are a lot. But okay, Sam, we've had a lot of fun here. If you have nothing to say, I think we're going to stick to the US, and let's kind of, do you want to segue to the next part, which is again about the debates that have been had on the Bad Faith podcast on Jack